how to avoid using the Second Amendment fight by just aging out? Well, Rhonda Mary is back to talk to you about how to get the younger generations educated and engaged with their gun rights. She did a great talk at the Alternative Mass Media Conference in Dallas this year, and we are going to dive right into that with her up next.
Absolutely. But first, if you have legal matters that involve firearms, that you need to call California firearms lawyer John Dillon, especially if you have questions about the red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant. Call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Call 760-642-7150, or you can visit his website at dillonslawgp.com. All right, Alicia, would you like to chat with Rhonda?
I would love to.
Okie dokie.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hey, y'all. How
Hi.
are you?
Oh, we're doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. Glad you guys are having me back.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you.
All right. So we heard that you were recently on the show, and you talked about concealed carry courses for women. And I'm just curious, can you kind of just give us a quick intro and a recap for our listeners about that?
Oh, okay. So, hey, y'all. I am Rhonda Mary. I'm a Second Amendment advocate and a political commentator. I recently released a concealed carry style guide where I talk about some ways I've learned to basically conceal carry regardless of what I have on. So if I want to wear a nice dress, if I want to wear a nice skirt, if I want to go out for a night with my girls, finding ways to do that without having to leave my home without my firearm. When I first got into the community and was learning more about the Second Amendment, because it's heavily male-dominated, I was learning from a lot of guys, and they were trying to convince me, oh, just buy bigger jeans, just buy bigger T-shirts. And I'm convinced that, you know, we can get more women to carry if they feel like they can do it comfortably while maintaining their own unique style. And so that's why I had that guide over at rhondamary.com.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you know, and I checked out your website, or I checked out your Instagram and everything after we were on the show last time. And you had some great tips in there, and I really appreciate those. And I'm glad that you're out there sharing that with other women, because those things are, you know, those are things that, believe it or not, that can make a difference and kind of, you know, give women some freedom and to realize that they don't have to limit themselves or make,
Correct.
you know, so.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so how did you know, going back to when you presented at the Alternative Media Conference, how did that come about?
So Cheryl Todd, who is absolutely awesome over there in Arizona and is doing some really trailblazing things for the Second Amendment community and making connections and bringing people on board and all types of things. She invited me to that conference to speak, and that was in Dallas, Texas, and I went, and it was a really, really great time. There was a lot of awesome people there, and, you know, the room was really receptive, so I enjoyed my time there.
No, curious. Was that a topic that you chose when because you talked about the younger generations, or was that something that you were invited and asked to speak on?
I was actually invited and asked to speak on that, but it was very easy for me, if I do say so myself.
Very natural.
Hey, some people have it, some don't. I mean, for example, Rhonda, here's something for you to work for. I do 6 hours of radio every Sunday.
Oh, my goodness.
So there, I'll give you something to go. But you know what? When you love it, it's easy. And you know what it is? It's talking to people like you that have got such a great story. Doesn't hurt to have great co-hosts as well, especially that Action Jackson guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's here rocking out. Well, I tell you, he just went to the range this morning.
Yesterday
morning.
9 years old. Pumped through a few hundred rounds of ammo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Tell her what you shoot.
SIG M17 chambered in 9 mil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's out here getting it.
Yep. I'll let you
Well,
take
it definitely helps keep the motivation going, having that young energy around. See?
Right.
See?
Right.
See, you got to start them young. See, we got to start them young because we've kind of given up on that. Because I remember When I was a boy, I mean, I started with a BB gun and then a 22 and then, worked my way up, train. But today, you won't find hardly anybody doing that out in California.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And a concept that I've been thinking about lately, and I don't know if you guys want to go this deep into it, but I honestly believe that the public school system is a part of how we are teaching children about self-defense in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you really think about it, it kind of mimics the state, or the state having a monopoly on violence, as some people call it, because you'll have these kids that's bullied in schools and they're told, don't hit back, don't fight back, go tell the teacher. And a lot of times when they tell the teacher, the teacher may take forever to respond, if they respond at all. And then once the child finally decides to stand up for themselves, they're suspended just like the bully. I mean, if you look at that, that's very similar to what you see in some of these cities that work against our Second Amendment rights, saying, hey, if somebody breaks in, if somebody tries to rob you, if somebody tries to hurt you, call the police. The police take forever to show up, if they do show up in some cities that are heavy populated, and then you will be lucky, depending on the city you're in, if you get somebody that'll actually fight on your behalf. I mean, in some instances, they're even making the victims look like the bad guys for wanting justice. So it's definitely, I fully believe that we have to start implementing these principles early into these children, that you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to stand up for yourself. It's not okay for people to feel like they can hit you, they can bully you, and really making sure that we're standing on the side of our children when they are being abused, bullied, and making sure we're sorting those things out appropriately, not just turning a blind eye to it, because I believe that, like I said again, that kind of sets them up right to go, once they finish school, to go right into the system of turn all of your cares and worries right over to the police. They'll handle it. You don't have any autonomy, sovereignty. It's not your problem. It's theirs.
Which is the farthest thing from the truth, because I haven't read the Bill of Rights lately, but I didn't see an age group on the second. I don't know. You might have seen it.
Absolutely.
So
No.
Yeah, but see now, I totally 100% agree with you. It seems to me like there's a greater plan going on in the country than we're willing to admit to. There are people who know that what it is, and to me, it's just government control.
Absolutely, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and if we don't wake up. And what's that old adage about you can put a frog in a pot of water, and as you turn the heat on,
right.
then finally it dies, but it never realized the problem it was in until it was too late.
Right. They're being indoctrinated young and being taught a mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
I just read a report the other day, and it had nothing to do with cars, but I read this report the other day. I know, I couldn't believe it either. But 97% of the professors in all the colleges, not just Harvard and Yale, are hardcore liberal.
That's it?
That's it.
I would have thought it was much higher.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the percentage?
About 90, 98, 90, 97, 98%.
That's pretty high.
I think it's pretty high, too. And what they're doing is they're all on the same. And the biggest problem they were talking is tenure. When you give a teacher tenure, they don't even care. This one lady came out and she just says she's not going to make the kids take tests. There's not going to be a final, and you're all going to get an A. Is
that a social experiment?
No, that's just the way she felt that they didn't need to have to take a test, and they didn't need to do a final, and all they needed to do was show up. I don't even know if that was a criteria. So, of course, the whole school system's up in arms. We can't do anything with her because she has tenure. So, yeah. So, I'm right there with you, girl, and I'm sure you go way deeper than that. But
yeah, absolutely. I could have y'all here for hours.
Do you do a podcast?
Yes, every week, Tuesdays at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on my YouTube channel, Rhonda Mary.
All right. So how long do you go? Because I got a feeling if somebody lets you go, they're not going to bed that night.
About an hour and a half.
Okay.
About an hour and a half.
So
That's not too bad.
you sound like a deep thinker. Where do you get your best thoughts?
I get inspiration from other places. Like I see things that spark. So it may be TV, it may be Twitter.
Yeah.
I really like Twitter here as of late. It may be a book. And sometimes just thinking on certain concepts, like really sitting with them and thinking about how I feel about them and challenging myself even sometimes to go deeper.
Right. No, I otherwise life's boring, right?
Well, I don't know. They say ignorance is bliss. That's what I hear. I could be chilling, just ignoring everything that's going on.
Well, there is that too, but that's still a better place to be than reality sometimes. But now we're going psychological on each other here. Orange County Gun Owners is dedicated to preserving and restoring Orange County self-defense rights. And if you live in Orange County and want to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, you need to join. OCGunOwners.com/join. Orange County Gun Owners is more than supporting the lawsuits for the Second Amendment. They have developed an effective infrastructure that focuses on local outreach and activism. Volunteer at a shooting social, at a gun shop, and tabletop. And you can help more pro-gun local officials get elected. Become a member today. OCGunOwners.com/join. All right. Who we got back?
Rhonda.
Fantastic.
Rhonda's with us.
Rhonda Mary. That's a pretty name. And I even think you got a YouTube, right?
Thank you.
So it's Rhonda Mary, YouTube, then Rhonda Mary?
It's Rhonda Mary on YouTube. You can go to rhondamary.com, and it has all of my links to Twitter, Facebook,
Okay.
YouTube, Instagram.
And you only have to stay up for an hour and a half. I bet I could hit pause. I bet I can hit pause at least once or twice, right?
Only for an hour and a half.
Yeah. So we were kind of talking a little bit about, I don't know, you could probably say a little conspiracy going on within the school systems. But what do you think? Because you're way younger than I am, see, so now the job's on you. I screwed it up totally, so I didn't fix nothing. So now the ball's in your court because your generation is going to have to fix this. So what do you think? What do you think the fix is?
So one thing that I noticed is that engaging with a lot of people that have been in the Second Amendment community and in it for so long that sometimes you just get so used to prepackaged talking points, right? So my God-given rights, take it from my cold hands, and like all these other things that are said. And I think that a key to really building with younger generations is making sure that we are making connections. Mm-hmm. So making personal connections with people and really seeing what their concerns is about the Second Amendment. So I'll tell this quick little story that I told while I was at the event down in Texas, is that I was at a recycling, not an event, well, kind of like an event, but like a community thing.
Like a seminar of types?
No, it was like a cleanup type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And I overheard this young lady, and I wasn't familiar with her, and I overheard her just saying, I don't like guns, and I just hope that they, get rid of the guns, and I just think they're so awful. And so I'm just listening to her have this conversation with another person. And eventually, I politely interjected, and I just asked her, I said, when you say, get rid of the guns, what do you actually mean by that? What would that look like? And I saw her, she kind of paused and took a second, and she was like, I guess they will, have to come get them from people. And I said, how do you think that would look in your neighborhood? Like, how do you think that would smooth over? Do you think people would take kindly to that? Or do you think that would make your neighborhood more dangerous? Do you think that would be chaotic? And she thought about it for a second. And then she was processing this. I said, so what is your real concern with guns? Like what are your fears or problems about them? And she started to tell me how her child's father, the child would spend a lot of time at his home, and that the father owned a firearm, and she didn't feel like it was a safe environment for her son, and she really had concerns for his safety. I said, have you ever talked to your son about gun safety? She said, no. I said, so you have these concerns, but you never took the time to teach him the do's and the don'ts. You know, don't touch the firearm when you're over there. You know, this is what a firearm is for. This could be the consequences if you ever hurt somebody with a firearm. You never had any of these conversations. She was like, no. I said, I think that would be a good place to start if you actually have concerns about it, because I feel like that can immediately impact the safety of your child. She told me that she never thought about it like this before. And she thanked me after the conversation. Now, people listening might think that this is the wildest thing they ever heard. Like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe that she never even thought about something that seems so simple to us. But the fact of the matter is that you have a lot of people that are being programmed, they're being propagandized to have opinions on things that they really haven't sat with. They really haven't taken the time to challenge themselves on, like I talked about a little bit before the break, challenge themselves on and really see and get down to the bottom of why they feel the way they feel about these issues. A lot of times they're just repeating what they heard on TV, what they heard from mainstream media, what they heard being taught in their schools. They haven't taken a personal look at how these issues would impact them in their everyday right now life. It's always about, what the government could do, what could happen, what I would like to see happen, instead of the steps that they could do right now to protect and make their loved ones safer. And so after that conversation with her, you know, she really thanked me. She was like, I've never thought about it in this way. And what I really want to hit people with about this conversation is the fact that I never made that conversation about me. I mean, she could probably presume my opinion on guns, but I never said anything about me, how I felt about guns, my rights, nothing in that conversation. I made it all about her concerns, and I used that to shape the conversation in a way that she could take these things on as a part of herself, as opposed to outside of herself.
So you were looking for an aha moment for her.
Correct, absolutely. And I think that if more people would go into it with that type of thinking, as opposed to, let me say these hard-hitting talking points, I'm going to own the libs. You know, and really it's not about that. It's about making connections. It's about networking. It's about spreading understanding and truth. It's about easing concerns, because ultimately the way this thing goes is going to affect all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, owning people or trying to prove a point or trying to get the last word is not necessarily a winning strategy. We really want to open people's minds and hearts to these ideas and these concepts so we can get them on our team and we can spread the message.
So, Alicia, let me ask you a question, because it seems to me like, and it's just phenomenal what Rhonda is doing, but don't you find people that are really true, you know, Second Amendment, gun ownership, do that kind of same thing? Like if you overhear a conversation, I mean, I have a feeling you would walk up and sit, maybe not have the same dialogue, but we seem to want to put our nose in somebody's business when we know what they're thinking is wrong.
Well, there's so much misinformation out there, and a lot of, and like the woman that you spoke to, Rhonda, I bet you, really, like you had said, she just spouted what she had heard, and she really, I'm sure, had little to no understanding of what any of it really even meant. And she had likely no knowledge of what she feared. And that there
Right.
is the foundation of a lot of that fear. And so we all have different talents, we all have different strengths. And I love Rhonda's approach to this. And it really kind of I think hearing your story can really help people to understand and open their eyes to the different ways that we can approach people. Sometimes everybody goes, we think, when all that you have is a hammer, you think everything's a nail. And there's not always
Right.
one approach to every situation. And so, and I know I do my best to share, like Dave was starting to speak to share and to teach and to help people to understand. And just like you've done, there's ways to reach people, and you just kind of have to read your audience, know the people, and
Right.
and find a way to reach them in a way that's effective, because you can't bash or push people into what you want them to do, and you just have to inform and teach. And I love how you said you got her thinking. You didn't just speak to her like like media and other places do. You got her thinking and helped her to come to a realization on her own.
Absolutely.
Now you guys are best of friends. Go to coffee every third Thursday.
No, that was actually like a temporary, and I didn't think about how important that moment was till much later, and so now I don't even have any contact with her. But I wish I did, so I could follow up and
See how she's
really
doing. She might be at the
see how she's
range.
doing.
See how many different.
Absolutely.
Hey, by the way, not to change the subject, Action Jackson. Did you have a joke for this young lady?
Yeah, I went Black Friday shopping to find some camouflage pants, but I couldn't find any.
R. Get it?
Wait,
What?
because they're camouflage.
There you go. If Brendan was in here, he'd give you the old boom.
Oh my goodness.
I just have to throw that in for a little levity here because, he found it. Because we got the jokester. He's full of jokes, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So, what's in the future? What do you got coming up next? Vice President? Senate? House of Representatives?
Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House? What are you doing? Come on, girl. Let's get going.
I don't know why people keep trying to push me into politics.
Why do you... Okay, when you get this radio show, I want you to sit in your room, close all the doors, and just listen to yourself. And that is why... No, it has everything to do... Well, I can tell you because I'm old. It has everything to do with you're passionate, you're truthful, and you make people think. And that's a politician we haven't had yet. And if you make it to the White House, because I gave you those 3 words, I'm coming for dinner.
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely.
I hear they got a great chef up there. I really do.
We would definitely have to make that happen.
I know. So you got any speaking engagements? Have you got any, come on, girl, you need a PR person.
I believe I'm going to be going to Arizona in February for their Second Amendment rally. That's going to be the most, that's going to be the soonest thing coming up. Hopefully next year, I don't know. We'll see what comes. But right now, I'm just really just trying to continue building my social media, working on my outreach, networking, and really just trying to get this message out and make sure that I'm adding, more value, or I should say a different value to all of the great things a lot of people in the Second Amendment community are already doing, just basically playing my part. So.
Well, it takes an army, one person.
Absolutely.
I mean, it'd be nice to think one person could do it, but you really can't. You need that group attitude. And I'm starting to think that, Alicia, correct me if I'm wrong, we're starting to interview more younger folks. Not saying you're old, because you're not, but I'm just saying.
Thanks, Dave.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
Is that a backhanded comment?
Haven't seen you in a while. But don't you think that more and more, what are you, an X gen, or whatever the heck you are? How old are you? We used to ask you how old you were, but we're not allowed to do that, so I thought I was going with
Just don't ask her weight. Her age is okay.
I'm not asking anybody's weight.
Well, y'all over there on the West Coast, in the South, we don't do either one of those.
Oh, good. I feel much, much better. Yeah, you just made me absolutely
We don't
hungry.
do either one of those.
Yeah. You made me instantly hungry. Hey, how do people follow you around on all those fun social media sites?
So I am on Twitter and Facebook. I am Rhonda Mary. On Instagram, Rhonda_Mary. YouTube, Rhonda Mary. I mean, type in Rhonda Mary, you'll find me.
Yeah, I
But
have a
the
feeling.
easiest way is to go to rhondamary.com, and you can see everything, my bio. You can see about my weekly show, where to find me on these various social media platforms.
And when are you on podcast?
Tuesday. That's coming up Tuesday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 p.m.
Yeah.
8:30 E.
What's the topic?
I don't
A
even
mixed
know
box
yet.
of nuts.
It's so much going on.
That's what I said. A mixed box of nuts. Inland Empire gun owners strive to be the ounce of prevention in that fight for your gun rights. And how do they do it? They'll do it by fundraising and getting local pro-gun candidates elected. How can you help? Become a member today. Go to iegunowners.com/join and join the growing number of responsible gun owners stepping up to defend our Second Amendment right. That's iegunowners.com/join. All right, Alicia, I'm going to throw this young lady at you.
Hey, Rhonda.
Hey.
So kind of going back to the topic of, kind of talking about youth and then in the gun culture and kind of marrying the younger with the older generations and kind of tying together. Are there any organizations or groups that you feel that are out there that kind of have this as their mission or are kind of working to help achieve or make this connection that you feel are doing it in a proper, in a good and successful, proper way?
Yes, Antonia Okafor over at it's like Empowered 2A. She works with Gun Owners of America, and she does a lot of great work. And then she's having some things that are going to be coming up next year. And I don't want to go like too deep into it because she's still working on some things. But hopefully I will be working with her as well, a lot of other ladies across the country to make sure we are reaching women and giving women resources and a voice in how they are learning about and engaging in the Second Amendment. So she is someone that is really great. Of course, Maj Toure with Black Guns Matter. He is really great in the Second Amendment with what he does and reaching younger demographics, reaching, urban and inner city demographics. Kevin Dixie was no other choice. Like, these three people are people that I really look up to. He has the No Other Choice organization. He works with young boys as well as he has his Train and Learn coming up, which is really great because it gives a chance for instructors, activists, advocates, just everybody across the Second Amendment community to come together, train together, learn how to work with these different corporations or organizations, making sure we're really understanding that we have the training part down. So, doing everything properly and safely, but also how we're reaching out to people, networking, getting the message out, working with these different companies to expand the message. So those are three people that just come to my mind right off top that have been so extremely helpful and supportive of me.
So Rhonda,
Yes.
I'm older. I was trying to find and locate and follow those three as you gave them. I got the first two, and I was still typing, trying to catch the third. What was the name of the third one that you gave?
The third one is Kevin Dixie, and he is, let me see, his Instagram. Let me find it real quick. _NOC.
Found him. Thank you.
And that's Kevin Dixie.
You notice I didn't ask.
I'll get it to you later.
Because she's going to share it with me.
But these are three people that have not only been super influential to me, but have just been so helpful. And when I really say have their heart in this movement and trying to expand and have no problem reaching and bringing other people in. And so I definitely, like, off top, those are the people that I want to highlight. And, I already mentioned, Cheryl Todd and the work that she does.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other people that have been influential. The DC Project has been very helpful to me. So, it's a lot of people doing good work out here.
Love it.
Well, it takes an army, as the old saying goes.
Mm-hmm.
One person can't do it alone, no matter what Rhonda tells you. Well, she's trying. She's trying.
Some people like to call me Superwoman, but, that's neither here nor there.
You know what? Hey, you know what, girl? I'd take it, because I've had things called of me which I don't want, but that was one I would keep. I would definitely make a T-shirt. I would make a T-shirt. That's what I would do. So, talk to me about this, because we were talking about it before we went on air, and recommendations for connecting with your audience. Now, is that just the story, or how to get on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram?
Wait, I didn't understand the question. Ask me one more time.
It was recommendations for connecting with young audiences, and I'm thinking, well, would that be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram? Because I'd like to bump up my audience, but that's not what the question.
Are you on
okay.
Instagram?
Yeah,
Are you on? You are?
I am.
Oh.
See,
So,
I told you I need help, but that's not the question you wanted. You were talking about the actual, interacting and connecting with the younger audience.
So what I would say now about the younger audience is you have to find out how they're already communicating and figure out how your message could fit into that. Something that's really popular now is the short format videos. So the Reels, which you can use that same content on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. If you can do something or say something in 30 to 60 seconds that's funny and informative, you can really grow your audience. And young people, unfortunately, our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. However, if you know that, you can use it to your benefit. So if you can teach something or resonate with people or say something funny in 30 to 60 seconds, and you're doing that consistently, you will see your outreach grow with your younger demographic.
And a lot of people don't realize 60 seconds to some people could be an hour.
Oh, goodness.
And then there's people
terrible.
like you that could knock out enough 60 seconds to choke a horse.
Yeah, it's I mean, in some ways, I see what's happening, with what's happening with our attention spans, and I really I have concerns about how that's going to affect us 5 to 10 years from now. But I mean, hey, maybe we mix in a little bit of those techniques to reach those people where they are.
Well, consistency has a lot to do with it.
Oh, yes.
Just like you said, if you're doing a 60-second spot, even if it was like once a day, and people got used to seeing you at 2:00 every day, and it just depends on what, like you said, depends on the delivery, depends on the message. But it's interesting because remember, well, you weren't that old, but back in the day when all this craziness started, everybody wanted to do really long YouTubes and really long videos, and they didn't understand why their numbers were dropping. Because you could only watch so much of one thing, and then you just dump it. I think, So, okay, I have to ask, since you're in the younger generation, are you listening to or do you care about the reputation of TikTok?
I want to care. And I know, and because I know I should do better. But then when I see all the potential for the people that I can reach on TikTok, it's just a really interesting conundrum.
Yeah, it's a hard balance. It's a hard balance.
So much potential on TikTok. There's so much potential to reach so many people that it's like you don't want to not do TikTok, but then just knowing the truth of, you know, the ownership of it and concerns about propaganda and safety, privacy, issues and things like that.
Especially if you're going to be in the public's eye.
Right.
And the problem is, how do you get to be in the public's eye? You have to be on platforms like TikTok.
You have to be seen. You have to get your message out there.
There you go. I know. It's one of the best ways to get people onto something, whether they want to be on it or not. You know?
Right. And I think they know that.
You think?
I think they know that.
Hey, we're pretty smart, but I think there's a few people a little higher up the ladder smarter than us. Hey, man, it's been a blast talking to you. Say goodbye, Alicia.
Hey, Rhonda, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.